All right, I'm live. Herbert's viewers have shifted over. Welcome, one and all. Yeah, this is kind of a big week, I guess, in autonomy. I would say if you're new here, please subscribe. It is incredibly valuable. I'm having a hard time justifying doing the weekly show with Herbert and Nick because everybody watches on Herbert's channel and nobody watches on my channel. And this is what I do for a living. This is my business. And I got to make a living or do something different. So, every subscriber helps, and I know watching helps too. It definitely does, but also the fact that if we're not, when you hit 100,000 subscribers, YouTube shows your videos more often, and so you can actually do other better things. Find a real job. Um, you know what? You can go away. I'll just put you in timeout. How about that? Because you know, no need to be a jerk. That's not helpful. Uh, this is a real job. I'm an analyst. That's why I don't get some of the advantages and adventures that influencers get. Influencers take pretty pictures. Analysts ask hard questions. Which would you rather invite if you've got a pretty product? The influencer, of course. So there we go. How is everybody? Where are you? And what is the weather? I'm in the Northwest. We are experiencing a real river of atmospheric conditions, and it is making things floodsy a bit here. The underpass for the pedestrians by the lake has been closed to foot traffic for safety. So that's fun. Let's see what we got here. What interview did Elon mention about another FSD model? I think it was the same one, the one where for the XAI hackathon. Let's see what we got here. Are you going to cover Rivian's AI Day tomorrow morning? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I reached out to them about attending the event, and they did not write back. But then I got an email today saying, please stream it. It's like, all right, I'll stream it. Feel like I should have been there, but I didn't press the issue because I have another engagement the same day, except in Portland. Santa's on the way. Made a ton on Uber and Lyft puts. Congratulations on that, by the way. I don't gamble. I don't have the stomach for it. Don't find a new job. You're pretty good and fairly funny. Keep going. Yeah, that's the plan. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Overall thoughts on the recent interview that Katie Miller did with Musk. I guess I haven't seen that one. I'll look it up. You can get 1 million subscribers if you do a podcast in a bikini or apply makeup while you do it. So yeah, showing cleavage is one way to get subscribers. I haven't found it to be as effective, despite my fairly impressive boobies. Gloomy in the Pacific Northwest. It is. I hit like because I like commentary. My commentary. Thank you. Appreciate that. FSD raised expectations for GDP. Oh, the Fed raised. That would have been funny. The Fed raised expectations for GDP. We need 100 likes. What are we up to so far, you guys? Plano, Texas, 62 degrees, 30% blue skies, smiling on me. Did you see where the Model S on the best driving top 10 from Car and Driver? I did see that. Doesn't surprise me. Model S is a good driving car. Let's see. Other than news on FSD and Robo Taxi, what car models do you think Tesla will release? Model YL. We've already seen it testing in Berlin. It would be crazy to not bring it to all markets, the YL. And of course, the Y standard and S and 3 standard appear to be going wide to other markets as well. That's 3 new price segments. Now, the 3S and YS in the US, there's a psychological gap there because people say, well, why would I pay that much when I could have gotten a regular one for that kind of price just a few months ago? Well, because you can't get it for that price anymore. Does everyone have different versions? I pay for FSD and only have 12.63. Well, you're on hardware 3, so you will be lagging. But 12.63, I would have thought you'd be on 12.64. So I'm not sure on that. But there's only a few active versions out there. Do you think the operator in so maybe you're on an S or X? I'm not sure. Do you think the operator in Miami event got penalized? No, I think he got chewed out. I don't think he'd get penalized. It's a mistake. This is a new thing they're doing. It's certainly not their full-time job. They're probably just one of the team members who was tasked with doing it this time. They may not be asked to do it next time. Let's see here. Thanks for your hard work. What does Future Oz mean? Anybody want to tell him? It was a username that was available across platforms. I needed something unique and simple. To bet against their demise as Robo Taxi rolls out, I just want to take profit. When I make 20% plus in a week. Like is free. Do it. Let's see. What's going on with Tesla stock in the last 10 minutes? Fed action. Fed cut rates by a quarter. Everybody in the market should be up based on that. What am I most excited about in 26? Well, it's not the Roadster and it's not the bot. It's got to be Robo Taxi and Autonomy. If unsupervised arrives before the end of 26, oh my gosh, that would be the biggest news perhaps in the history of automobiles, because it would change forever what a car is. Hop in, go to sleep. Oh, you know what? I want to have my car while I'm on vacation. Just send it. Just send it. I'll fly. Car will meet me there. If you're moving, load up your X or Y or Cybertruck with all your stuff and send it. All your stuff is there when you get there. That would be a real game changer. X IPO. SpaceX IPO in regards to its impact on the Tesla stock price. Okay, that's a good question, because there would be some impact. There are people who would sell their Tesla to buy SpaceX. I don't think SpaceX is going to IPO. I don't think they need to. I think they've got enough cash to do what they wish to do without dilution. I think they could, if they needed a bunch of money, they could either raise it privately or they could instead borrow it and pay it back. So I do not expect a SpaceX IPO. Any updates on the Roadster? None that I've heard. Do I think it will fly? No, not in any traditional sense. I mean, the BYD's got a car, the Yangwang U9, that can hop. I mean, it can technically hop. If you own one, yours won't, but it does have the ability to do things like that. Potentially, let's see. Will Tesla ever release a $20,000 to $25,000 car for humans to drive? No. No, I don't. I sadly do not think they will, not even in the China market. I just don't see it being a priority. Let's see. Wow, we're getting some good comments here. I need a new car, but would rather subscribe to Robo Taxi. Let's jump over to the actual chat from the show, because we're already 9 minutes in and we haven't really done that. Herbert had said it is pretty much solved, and David said pretty much is carrying a lot of the weight here. Yeah. It's what is solved. I think a lot of people have clearly Herbert's definition is a lot softer than what I would call solved. That makes it harder to reach a consensus. My problem is that the route I always take, it goes to the tougher intersection instead of the quickest way. That's frustrating. You could remove the left side of the steering wheel, right? Gave my thumbs up at the beginning. Standard procedure. 2.5 point cut. Did I read that right? No, 0.25. So as I think the cut, I thought it was 0.25. Or an unlicensed driver can do the same. Okay. Why is it not? There we go. How much deferred revenue has Tesla for Q4? Probably some. Yes. Um, I've asked a number of analysts this, and they don't seem to have a good consensus on how much deferred revenue there is, but certainly some. Um, but I don't think it's going to be billions. I don't think it's even hundreds of millions, but it's some. If I'm sending it out all day, it must not break the law. A taxi doesn't need parking spaces, but it must not speed, especially through school zones. Safety, though, it must behave safely. If it's going 3 over, that is technically ticketable. Where do we draw the line? And for everyone, it's different. If it is incapable of getting a ticket, I'm not worried about 3 miles over or 5 or even 8, as long as it's behaving safely. Speeding through a school zone is not safe. Solved, but not perfected. It's like saying the Wright brothers solved flying. Oh, that's good. That's a very good comparison. That's why I watch your show and not Herbert. A toboggan is FSD then. Herbert's channel gets a lot of troll comments. Yeah. People who are there just to stir the pot. People who engage in anti-fandom, which is, by the way, mental illness. If you went on the road to follow the Cubbies just to boo them, your family would intervene and tell you you are not a well individual. You should do something different. But when you follow all of us and come around and just post nasty grams all day, well, maybe your family doesn't know the kind of behavior you engage in. But if they did, they would have a conversation with you, because that is not the sign of a well individual. Barking dogs must be introduced to the audience. I think that's totally fair. Can't work in my case. My dogs, the yard and the entrance to the garage are not connected. I mean, they would be in danger of going outside into the world. They would love that. The safety rider is just a monitor for that car. This would be less of a breakthrough, not allowing for rapid scaling yet. There will be still some monitors. The question is the ratio. If we're at 3 to 1 and we can bump it to just 4 to 1, you can expand the fleet by a third that day. 10 to 1. But I get your point, and I think that is 100% fair. Kevin, I don't remember. There's a comment. It's probably too far down to get to, but you had a real banger in here that was so funny. Let's see. I don't consider a Waymo as FSD solved. Well, it's not. It may be a solved Robo Taxi, but it's not a solved FSD. Solved FSD means no one back at HQ watching the screen, no one to intervene. We hand the keys to 16-year-olds who had to retake the test 3 times. This should be easy to approve. Yeah. That was something that someone brought up to me recently, is if 16-year-olds can drive, how is this different? If 90-year-olds with some visual degeneration, but not enough to fail the eye exam. Yeah. Waymo isn't a general solution, is it? It requires high-def mapping. How does Waymo do in snow, fog, rain, etc.? Typically, it doesn't. If the weather gets too adverse, they just stop taking rides, which, if you're on the Uber network, is fine, because there's humans who will risk their life and limb to go out and get that fare when Waymo says, it's probably not a good day to be driving. I have hardware 3, so I can't answer that. I would send my blind friend on their own to their daughter's house 30 miles away based on the roads. I would not send them to our bank in downtown 5 miles away. Yeah, that's fair. There are routes that I consider much safer than others. Everyone who drives different from me is doing it wrong. That's right. That's right. You forgot about the style question in the back of the Robo Taxi after a few minutes. Yeah, you do forget about it. If you're not behind the wheel, you don't really pay attention to the style issue. Would have driven me on the beach, not dangerous, but very inconvenient. Yeah. Most of the Robo Taxi crashes were other people crashing into it. Next feature by Brian is the driver intervention where passengers can force the FSD to come on. I love it. Let's see. I'm okay with mistakes that err on the side of caution. I do support FSD as the new interlock method for DUI/DWI. Um, it's got to be if a human's going to have to take over, they do really need to be sober. And I would be worried that someone who has a history of drunk driving would be too likely to lean on it too heavily. But what percentage of cars on the US roads are Tesla capable of FSD? Not enough to have any noticeable impact yet. So there's probably, I'd say, 1.5 million cars. No, let me think. It was mid 23. So yeah, maybe 1.5 million Teslas on the road with hardware 4. Hardware 3, that number expands probably to 3-4 million. I miss being able to screech the tires for emphasis. Which model do you have? I think on performance, you can still do anything you want. I don't know that. I don't know if other models can do it. I don't know. I don't think either of my cars have the ability to do like track mode. Ours, the household cars, but I wouldn't do it myself. I have it as a horn sound, among others. Let's see. FSD solved means the next update will be 14.3 and Elon has it and not you yet. I caution with this. Elon has been saying, I have the next version and it's solved. Not solved, but I have the next version and it's mind-blowing since probably version 9. And I would love to know what he actually had, because I guarantee you it wouldn't have blown my mind. Remote supervisors need to be part of the discussion. Yeah. Okay. Please hit the like. We don't have 100 likes. Let's get to 100 likes, y'all. Let's jump back over. Let's see what we're at over here. Okay. Because we've got another 13, 14 minutes. Sure. When do you think Robo Taxis will be rolled out on a large scale? Don't know. As soon as you can get the remote operation to better than 1 to 10 vehicles. If you've got one supervisor for 10 vehicles, then I think you can really go nuts. I was surprised Nick did not believe the robots were being controlled by humans. I was a little too. Fed stopped quantitative tightening. Do we think older drivers will be more interested in driving a Tesla now that FSD is generally better than a human? Got to get them behind the wheel. Got to let them see it. If I didn't know what I know, I would be deeply skeptical of the claims of all this. DRK also doesn't think SpaceX will IPO. They don't need the cash. They don't need the liquidity, and they don't want the interference from investors, from Wall Street activists. Yeah. Just left this Seattle, riding on my Cybertruck, FSD 1421, all the way to Minnesota through some pretty nasty, icy rain and snowstorms. Cool. Loves to do that. Elon wishes he could take Tesla private. SpaceX going public would be the opposite of what he'd want. He could have taken X public. I think he's glad he didn't. The terafab for chips, I don't think it's going to happen. It's too complicated. And people say, yes, but you misunderstand. Elon's done the impossible many times. Yes. And he's also failed at the possible. 4680 has not been the hit that was expected. Dojo, very complicated task, did not succeed. Chip fabrication, harder than both of those combined. But that doesn't mean they couldn't do a Giga Nevada style partnership where they go to TSMC and say, look, we'll pay for the building or half of it and guarantee that we'll buy the products from this factory. We'll guarantee a minimum amount of purchase. We just need you to build it. When you look at a level of difficulty TSMC and Samsung have had building fabs in the US, you see that even companies that really know how to do it struggle to do it here. When you look at countries like China, who would love to be the world leader in cutting edge chips, they haven't been able to do it. with the full resource and backing of an entire government. It's very, very difficult. I don't think it's possible. And if it is possible, at what price? You're not going to pay 3 times more just to have your own. It still has to be cost effective. And there are ways to do it that are cost effective. I think what this is a warning shot because the competition knows, chip manufacturers know, Elon's just crazy enough to try it. Please don't. We don't want you to succeed. We can do better as a team. With all the hard work you put into this channel, it looks like a real job to me. It's way, way past 40 hours a week. It's just not as successful because I don't do influencer things. I don't say the stock is going to 1,000. I don't say that, FSD is solved a year ago. Those things will grow your channel very quickly. But at what cost? I'm not going to sell my soul to do this with more success. I still believe I can do this the ethical way. I could also probably quadruple my income by doing sponsorships for companies that I don't believe in, that I don't trust, that I don't think you should be doing business with. I won't do that either. So, I don't know. Starlink could go public, maybe. Yeah, but why? Why? Do they need the money? Starlink, it would be cool, but I just don't think they need to. Future Ozza, secretly veiled reference to Brian owning a time machine. Shh. Fly briefly. Maybe, is that even legal? That's a good question. There's no laws written about it. Ain't no law says a golden retriever can't play basketball. Maybe it's that. BYD, the Yang Wang U9 Extreme is insane. See the video of a test drive of that car. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know if it's quite Rimac amazing, but it's amazing. If you come to Reno, no snow this month so far, but enjoy. At least it's sunny. I'm really hoping Donner Pass doesn't require chains. I really don't want to deal with chains because I'm going to be going to San Francisco, the Bay Area, for a Lucid site visit, a Fremont factory tour, and a couple other things. And then I'll be heading to Reno for a Giga Nevada visit, a Redwood Materials site visit, and look at that spider. Can you see that? Maybe not. Anyway, away you go. It's a garage. I'm basically outside. So then, so I've got a lot going on. So I don't wish to deal with the passes. I'm very not excited about that. Okay. Right, brothers. Yeah, I enjoyed that analogy. Will there be any riders at all? We can now see Tesla offering the ride-alongs in Europe. Do we need more data there? Unclear what we need to make it work in Europe from a logistical and regulatory standpoint. But they are allowing them to do the demo drives, which is, to me, encouraging. I think what the regulatory bodies are trying to do is build consensus around it. So I think that's a big step. Like Boeing solved transport space shuttle spacecraft. Was that Boeing that built that? I don't remember who built that. Cybercab experience may need to fully transition all capable cars. Maybe. If you're too drunk to supervise FSD, you were going to crash anyway. Yes, but the idea is that with a more invasive monitoring system, you wouldn't have been able to start the car in the first place. Hey, Tesla Tino in the house. Hey, Raphael. Do you know if there are aftermarket sounds that can be applied to make it sound like an old race car to a Tesla? Yes, there are. There's a company that does that. My brain is so wired to the old way of thinking that I saw this very customized Tesla and it was sitting there making V8 engine sounds, just like this low kind of blah, 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 blah. And my brain went, he's going to start a grass fire because he was parked on the lawn at an event. And I remembered, oh yeah, that's not real. So yes, there's a company that does that. China sold out. Are they producing taxis instead? Are they producing taxis instead? No. No. But they are shipping to other countries. There's always more markets opening up from which to be served by Giga Shanghai. And it's the Model 3 Performance that I saw was sold out to February, and the YL, which I think was late January or February last I saw. But with how sales are going, because the incentives in China will be reduced, not eliminated, but reduced at the end of this month, there's a real push. Spent a few hours in Miami. The articulation of the hands is still pretty good. Shame it's teleoperated. Yeah, I saw you got to that event. That's very jealous. I didn't know about the event until much too late for me to possibly attend. Chip fabs are difficult and expensive. Brian is saying he isn't Herbert. The Roadster will have a ground suction capability. Will it? Do we know that? You got quite the fun agenda coming up. I do. I thought the spider jokes were done with. How did it taste? I saved it for later, David. Hopefully, Donner Pass will require neither chains nor, let's say, forks. Does it say forks? Yeah, forks. Elon said he would like to give Tesla owners access to SpaceX. Not quite. He said that he was asked, and he said, yeah, I think he said it would be cool, but he has a responsibility to the shareholders of that company to do the best for them. If there was an IPO and let's say they expect it to come out at 100, but everyone knows it's going to race to 200 as soon as it opens, allowing people to buy in early at 100 would be a disservice to the shareholders of that company. He would be obligated to protect them, and giving special treatment to us, I think, would be, unfortunately, not something that they would be able to do. Got a few minutes left. Let's see if we've got anything else we can hit. Let's see. Is Nick old enough to remember the gas crisis and the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit? No, definitely not. 55 probably ended in what, the 80s or 90s? Probably the 80s. Late 80s? Yeah, I think there were still 55-mile-an-hour speed limits in cities on highways when I was first driving, but I don't remember now. 45 is too slow for an EV. Okay. Yeah, he might have heard about it from his dad. If I was king, I'd listen to my Knights of the EU roundtable first and say no until the people rebel. Just historically accurate, Richard. Historically accurate. Revenuers. Love it. That one got me because we were talking, this is in the context of speeding tickets. There are places where it is absolutely a source of revenue, and those are terrible, terrible places to live because they're not trying to make the road safer. They don't care about that. They just want money. And I think that should be illegal. I'm going to look up the gas crisis and 55 miles an hour. It's an interesting read. Some of them do help their budgets with tickets. It'll be done when it dodges potholes. I just don't have enough potholes where I live. I mean, our roads don't freeze and thaw the way they do in other places. This is a good one. My cousin was pulled over and she said, but officer, I was just going with the flow. And the cop said, ma'am, you are the flow. 1.7 million Teslas with hardware 4. So what did I guess? 1.5? I don't remember. I think I guessed pretty good. 4.2 on the roads of the US. So 0.6 of cars on the US road can do 60%, you mean? No. Yeah, 60%. 0.6%. Come on. Penalties, tickets for dangerous driving is somewhat arbitrary. I'll say, when I had a beater car, they would pull me over all the time. Very few tickets, but my gosh, maybe they thought I was like a druggie or a criminal. I don't know. In some jurisdictions, it's just an excuse to pull you over. Yeah. They would pull me over for literally nothing. More difficult than I thought. The impact will be small but grow over time. Mhm. I think we should finish out questions on the current one. Call that a day. Let's see. Mhm. Oh, comments have quieted down a bit. I think Rebellionaire were suggesting that SpaceX staff just went through an option period to sell some of their own shares. You have to have a lot of money and already be an investor. There's a limit to how many investors you can have as a privately held company. And it appears that this wasn't a fundraising round, but an opportunity for insiders to get some money. If it's not publicly traded, how do you sell your shares? Well, you can sell them to other people who are already shareholders, other employees, early investors, and that wouldn't increase the number of investors. It would just shift some of the shares around. You got to pick a valuation. Valuation they picked, pretty eye-watering. Very impressed. 284 million cars on the road in the US, 1.7 million on AI4. 284 million cars on the road. Wow. That's more than there are licensed drivers. So certainly there aren't that many, probably in a given year. That probably includes all the antique cars that have permanent plates that are only driven once a year, if that. Interesting. But that's assuming all cars in 2023 were AI4, which they are not. No, it's about half that year registered. Well, on cars over a certain age in most states, you can just do a permanent registration. I don't know how they keep track of which of those are still on the road. It's an interesting question. Oh, guys, if you're catching on the replay, let me know. Let me know. Everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Do I think Waymo will survive? Yeah, absolutely. There are all kinds of bad value things at the store that have been around forever. Some people prefer bad value. I don't know. So yeah. What did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Do this thing. It's very important. It is very important. If I can get to 100,000 switches flipped, and it will make a lot of my problems go away. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.